My beloved child, don't ignore this moment. This is not another random message in your feed. This is the very second I have aligned everything in heaven and on earth to reach your heart with the urgency it deserves. You may not realize it yet, but everything about today was leading to this conversation. I was watching you when you felt overlooked, unheard, and abandoned behind your silent cries. But I held back just enough to see if your heart would still search for me in the stillness. And now I speak, and I do not speak lightly. I waited all day, because I wanted the right second where your spirit would pause, even if your mind tried to rush. You kept wondering why your heart felt stirred, why your chest tightened when the world went quiet. That was me knocking. You thought you were just scrolling, but I have been standing beside you, gently interrupting your rhythm, urgently tapping on your attention, because what I have to say now cannot wait for another minute. If you ignore this, you will delay something I've been preparing for far longer than you imagine. You see, the enemy has tried to make you numb through distractions, exhaustion, and endless noise, but this message cuts through all that fog. This is your burning bush moment, not flashy but holy. My eyes are fixed on you right now, and even as you read this, my presence is surrounding you. Feel the weight in your spirit. It's not heaviness, that's glory. I have been waiting, longing, and yearning to get just one moment of your undivided gaze, and I don't need hours. I just need you to open now. You may feel broken, tired, unsure, even undeserving, but that hasn't stopped me before, and it won't now. I chose to speak now because you were close to quitting. I saw it, and I stepped in. This is me blocking the enemy's final lie tonight. This is me holding your heart in my hands saying, don't give up. Not now. If you walk away from this moment thinking it's just emotion or coincidence, you'll miss the very hand that is trying to pull you out of drowning waters. Child, look around. I've been using signs all day. The conversations, the silence, the sudden awareness of time slipping fast. All of it was preparation for this message. I've waited because I honor your free will, but now I knock urgently. You're not too far gone. You're not too late, and you're certainly not forgotten. You are the reason this message exists. You are the one I placed this sentence in front of. Don't resist it. Lean into it. Something is shifting in the spirit right now, even as you read this, and I'm commanding heaven's armies to clear the air around your mind, your heart, and your surroundings. You're about to sense clarity where confusion ruled. You're about to feel peace in the middle of your panic. I'm not waiting for you to be perfect. I'm just waiting for you to be present. Be still. Stay here with me. Don't scroll. Don't move, because what I say next will shake what's been stuck and deliver what's been delayed. You have no idea how long I've waited for this door in your heart to crack open. Now that it has, I'm coming in. Let me speak more, because I'm not done. And now that you've allowed me into this moment, I must reveal something urgent and hidden, something you didn't even realize was hovering right over your life, just inches away from being released. You think you're standing still, surrounded by delays and foggy outcomes, but what you can't see is how close you are to stepping into what I designed before time even began. There's a divine shift beneath the surface, and it's trembling, waiting to break through. Not months from now, not next year, but soon, closer than the breath you just took. My plan didn't change because of the pain you went through. It wasn't canceled because of what others said about you. What I have written concerning you cannot be erased by their opinions or your past. My fingerprints are all over the next chapter of your life, and you're not standing at a random edge. You're positioned at a door that has been locked until this very moment. But here's what's more urgent. That door isn't opened by effort. It's opened by awareness. I'm not asking you to fight harder. I'm asking you to recognize what's near. You've prayed for breakthrough, and you thought it would come loudly, with flashes and noise. But it's arriving silently, wrapped in unexpected instructions, tucked inside my whisper. And if you're distracted, you'll miss the nudge that opens everything. I need you alert. I need your spirit awake. I need you to understand that divine timing is colliding with your obedience. You thought the battles were delays, but they were disguises, hiding the breakthrough so that it wouldn't be stolen before it reached you. What's ahead has already been settled in the heavens, but I'm waiting for you to walk like it's yours, not when you feel strong, but even now, when you feel uncertain. This isn't about being ready, it's about being willing. I prepared the moment, I lined the timing, and I silenced the chaos just long enough for you to see clearly. If you knew what was hanging by a thread, you wouldn't sleep tonight. If you understood what kind of restoration is one surrender away, you'd throw off every distraction and come running. This is why I've kept you awake. This is why you feel restless even when you try to sleep. Your spirit senses something birthing, and it's not just hope, it's fulfillment. You've been circling promises, but now the ground beneath you is cracking open with purpose. Don't measure my plan by what hasn't happened yet, measure it by the fact that I haven't let you quit. You've been carried through storms you don't even know I blocked. You survived things that should have shattered your mind, but here you are, reading this, still being called forward, still being pulled by a force greater than your failures. That's because the assignment I placed inside you cannot die and delay. It will live because I authored it. It will flourish because I've declared it. The enemy's biggest fear is you realizing how close you are to my original intention. He's been trying to tire you, distract you, numb you, not because you're weak, but because you're dangerous to the darkness once you recognize your proximity to the breakthrough. That's why I'm speaking again, and not through thunder, but through urgency. Hear me, the clock of heaven has been counting down to this alignment, and it is not random that you're here, now, in this very hour. What seemed like years of nothing were actually moments of divine arrangement. You were not wandering, you were being positioned. And now, the fog is lifting. The path is appearing. And I need you to stay focused, because the next step matters more than you realize. Don't look back. Don't hesitate. Don't disqualify yourself because of what happened back then. I'm not basing your promise on your past. I'm basing it on my purpose. Stay with me, child. The closeness of this moment cannot be wasted. What I show you next will shift the rest of your life. You're not just feeling heavy by accident. There is a real pressure in the unseen realm pressing against your spirit, trying to confuse you, drain you, and wear you out before you wake up to what I'm doing. This isn't just emotional weight or mental exhaustion. It's a spiritual assignment crafted carefully to stop you just short of your moment. You didn't randomly feel like quitting today. You didn't just suddenly feel distant from me for no reason. The enemy has studied your patterns, watched your habits, and launched a timed distraction to pull your attention away at the edge of your rising. That's why it feels like everything came at you all at once. The disappointment, the questions, the fog of confusion, the old memories, the anxious thoughts. None of that was a coincidence. It was a carefully deployed cloud, hoping to steal the clarity I just gave you. But child, I saw it before it even touched you. I saw the ambush long before it formed. That's why I've been stirring your spirit to stay awake. That's why your soul has felt an invisible urgency you couldn't name. You've been under a subtle storm. Not loud enough to make you run, but strong enough to make you stop. And yet, you're still here, reading this, and that tells me you've already outlasted the first wave of resistance. You didn't even know how close you came to spiritual collapse. But I did. I've been surrounding you with grace so precise. You made it through the worst night while thinking you were just tired. The truth is, you were targeted because of what's being birthed in you. The enemy doesn't bother guarding doors that don't lead anywhere. The weight you're carrying is evidence of the significance of what's about to be released. He's afraid of your obedience. He's afraid of your persistence. He's terrified of what happens if you believe me fully in this moment. But I want you to hear me clearly now. You're not fighting alone. What you can't see is that angels have been dispatched in this very hour to strengthen you. They're not far away. They are around you, moving at the sound of my command. This attack may have been coordinated, but so has your protection. I did not leave you defenseless. I've been covering you with intercessions you never heard, shielding you from spiritual darts that would have shattered a weaker soul. Your eyes may not see it, but your spirit feels it. The pressure, the pushback, the inner tension that rises without explanation. That is warfare. But here's the truth. The enemy doesn't want you to realize you're winning. The very fact that you're aware of the resistance means you're already positioned for victory. The ones who are truly lost in the fight are those who feel nothing, who are numb, unaware, sleeping. But you, beloved, are awake. You're alert. You're pressing in. And that makes you unstoppable. Not because of your strength, but because of your awareness. I'm showing you the strategy behind the struggle so you stop blaming yourself for what has nothing to do with failure. You've been doing more right than you think. You've been moving forward even when it felt like crawling. Every time you lifted your eyes, whispered a prayer, read one word of truth, or even sighed toward me, it was a blow to the kingdom of darkness. You've been fighting silently, but I've been counting every swing. Now I need you to do one thing. Stand. Don't retreat. Don't believe the lie that you're defeated. Don't entertain the voice that says you're too late. That voice is not mine. I speak with peace. I speak with clarity. I speak with purpose. And I'm telling you now, the storm around you is a sign of the significance within you. The reason it's intense tonight is because something is about to be revealed tomorrow. Don't sleep on this warfare. Stand in it. Worship through it. Trust through it. And watch how I turn this coordinated attack into undeniable proof that I've always had the final word over your life. What happened in the spiritual realm today wasn't just another ordinary occurrence. Your name was declared before the throne, and that sound rippled through both light and darkness. When I called your name aloud before the courts of heaven, angels stood to attention, and hell trembled because they recognized that something was being set in motion that couldn't be undone. This wasn't a whisper. It was a divine announcement, not to embarrass you, not to expose you, but to commission a new phase of your destiny. And when your name was spoken, everything attached to your future was summoned. The enemy heard it too, and that's why the sudden shift in pressure has surrounded your day. It's why strange interruptions occurred. It's why emotions felt stirred up with no clear source. You thought you were just moody or confused, but it was spiritual turbulence trying to distort what was delivered over you. When your identity is acknowledged in heaven, warfare often intensifies on earth, not because you're cursed, but because you're chosen. The noise around you is often the result of the announcement above you. You didn't hear it with your natural ears, but your spirit reacted. That's why your heart felt pulled, why your thoughts couldn't settle, why even your sleep felt disturbed. It was my voice resonating through your being, and everything in you knows something is shifting. You may have doubted your worth, questioned your significance, assumed you were invisible, but heaven has already marked you, and I am revealing it now so you understand the resistance wasn't personal rejection, it was spiritual recognition. You're not under attack because you're failing. You're being targeted because something powerful was just assigned to your name. And the enemy is desperate to distract you before you realize it. But it's too late for that. I've already begun revealing glimpses of what's coming, through dreams, sudden thoughts, words spoken over you, and even this very message. Nothing you've been through is being wasted. Your name isn't just known in heaven. It's written in the book of life, surrounded by promises that cannot be canceled. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. I'm reminding you that your existence is not an accident. I authored your life, and every moment up to now hath been moving toward this confirmation. Even when you couldn't see how anything fit together, I was writing a narrative that would redeem every broken scene. But now you must understand, with that kind of recognition comes a level of responsibility. You cannot go back to silence when I've called you to speak. You cannot hide behind fear when I've given you authority. You cannot delay obedience when heaven has already moved on your behalf. Don't let the noise of demonic resistance convince you to shrink. When the enemy heard your name today, he panicked, because he remembered what happened the last time someone I called refused to bow to fear. That's why distractions increased. That's why temptations grew louder. But child, your name carries weight because I put it in motion. You are not defined by what others called you. You are defined by what I said over you. And today, I didn't just whisper your identity, I declared it. That declaration activated things you haven't seen yet, but you will. It released help. It released protection. It released alignment. You may feel weak right now, but strength is on the way. You may feel confused, but direction is already unfolding. I don't need you to figure everything out. I just need you to stay connected to me, because I am the one who authored the day your name would rise in the Spirit. Stay close, stay present, and stay aware. The shift has already begun, and you're walking into what was announced today whether you feel ready or not. Let this be the moment you understand. You're not begging for access. You've been called into position, and that calling cannot be revoked. Even now, as you sit here, unaware of the depth of what tried to reach you, I have been interceding, blocking, shielding, and absorbing what was never meant to touch your life. You see a normal day, I see a battlefield. You feel delay, I see deflected disaster. You wonder why things didn't go as planned, but you don't realize that if they had gone the way you wanted, they would have led to places that would have wounded you more deeply than you could ever imagine. I am not passive in your pain. I've been intercepting spiritual collisions before they became visible crises. There were conversations that were meant to confuse you, connections that were intended to derail you, thoughts that were planted to distract you from your identity, but I stepped in. I don't always announce when I intervene, because if I did, you would depend on my warnings more than my presence. But I need your attention now because what's ahead requires your full awareness, not partial faith. This is a moment of divine alert. Not fear, alertness. When a parent sees danger, they don't ask politely, they shout. So here I am, calling louder than usual, not to scare you, but to awaken you. There's a war over your peace, and I'm not asking you to fight it alone. I've already taken the hit for you, but if you ignore the nudges, if you silence my voice with noise, you may walk straight into what I've been protecting you from. I am the gap between what should have taken you out and what will lead you forward. You were surrounded by invisible warfare, but you never saw it, because my presence swallowed it before it reached your feet. Do you know how many times you've almost fallen into traps that looked like opportunity? Do you realize how close you came to embracing a counterfeit plan that wore the disguise of blessing? But I shut doors, rearranged paths, made people exit your life. And yes, it hurt, but it saved you. My protection rarely feels comfortable, but it's always intentional. And yet, I need something from you now. Not perfection, not performance, but attention. Not everyone can hear what I'm about to whisper next. If your mind is filled with fear, you'll miss my strategy. If your eyes are fixed on what others are doing, you'll overlook what I'm building behind the curtain of silence. The destruction that was aimed at you wasn't just about hurting your feelings, it was about destroying your destiny. But I stood between the blow and your heart. I've absorbed storms so violent, they would have shattered your purpose. I've redirected entire timelines to spare your soul. But this next step requires agreement. You must choose to stay present with me when everything is pulling you to escape. Don't numb yourself to avoid the process. Don't run back to what I rescued you from. What I'm doing now is precise. Every delay, every redirection, every unanswered question, it had been part of a divine detour away from unseen ruin. You're not being punished. You're being preserved. Even your tiredness is sacred, because it's pushing you toward surrender. Don't fall asleep spiritually just because the road looks quiet. Sometimes the stillness is where the real battle is fought, and I've been winning it for you. I'm not asking you to be strong, I'm asking you to look at me. Attention isn't just focus, it's faith that notices me in the small things. I've been speaking through unexpected moments, strange timings, closed doors, and even unanswered prayers, all to pull your gaze back to my face. The enemy doesn't need to destroy you if he can just distract you. That's why I'm calling with urgency, because you're closer to breakthrough than you've ever been, but proximity demands clarity. Let me clear the noise. Let me recalibrate your inner compass. Let me realign your attention. I'm not far. I'm standing right in front of you, arms stretched wide, heart full of strategy, voice trembling with urgency, waiting for your yes. One yes from you, one deep breath of surrender, one decision to lock eyes with me instead of fear, and I'll carry you through the next battle like I did the last. But don't sleep through this moment. I'm here now, fully, completely, and I need you to respond. I need you to understand the seriousness of what I'm saying now. This isn't just another moment of comfort, another string of nice words to ease your thoughts for a little while. This is a divine interruption that is meant to jolt you into position, shake off the haze that's clouded your vision, and awaken you from the sleep that has numbed your spirit. I'm not speaking gently right now because you're too close to something that demands immediate awareness. You've scrolled through 1,000 distractions, and each time you passed something that felt familiar, your heart became a little more numb. But not now. Not this one. This isn't the kind of message you can skim and forget. This is the one you'll look back on and realize it was the moment everything changed. Your soul knows it. You can feel the trembling underneath your skin, like something inside you recognizes that this isn't like all the others. That's because it's not. This is a divine signal, not just words, not just reminders. It's a call to rise from everything that's tried to bury you while you were still breathing. I'm not calling you out of weakness, I'm calling you out of silence. You've been quiet too long, hoping someone else would see you, validate you, lift you. But they didn't, because I'm the one who's supposed to. You've waited for signs, while ignoring the sound of my voice in the room with you. But I haven't gone silent. I've been waiting for you to stop treating these moments like they're optional. They're not. What you carry is not small. What I placed inside you cannot be delayed any longer. There are assignments that have been dormant because you didn't think you were the one I'd choose. But child, you were always the one. You keep asking me for proof that it's time, but I'm not giving you confirmation. I'm giving you command. You're not waiting on me anymore. I'm waiting on your response. This is not the hour to postpone obedience. You've already sensed the stirring, the nudging, the invisible pressure that doesn't let you settle. That's me. That unrest in your chest isn't anxiety, it's awakening. The very reason you're uncomfortable is because I've outgrown the box you've placed me in, and I'm pushing through your limits to reveal what you were meant to walk in. You keep thinking you'll miss it because of your past, but your past is the very reason I'm using you. I don't need polished. I need surrendered. I'm not oppressed by perfection. I'm moved by hunger. And you've been starving, haven't you? Not just for change, for meaning, for something that makes all the pain worth it. And here it is, not wrapped in comfort, but in clarity. I'm pulling back the veil right now so you can see what's truly at stake. This moment is not for feelings, it's for fire. And I'm placing that fire inside your bones, not so you can burn out, but so you can blaze a path for others who have been walking in darkness, thinking no one could see them. You're not too broken. You're not too far behind. You're not too late. You're the reason this message was sent at this exact hour. Because I knew if I reached you now, right in the middle of the tension, right when you were second-guessing everything, it would finally click that you were never abandoned, only being aligned. This isn't emotional hype. This is divine urgency. You're standing in the middle of an unfolding moment, and I'm calling you to step into it before it passes by. Don't wait for another sign. Don't ask for another confirmation. This is the wake-up call your soul has been aching for. Let it shake you. Let it break every dull routine. Let it tear through the complacency that made you think you could wait forever. You can't. The time is now. The shift is here. And I'm not whispering anymore. I'm calling. Loud, clear, undeniable. and I won't stop until you move. You keep blaming yourself for being exhausted, assuming that your weariness is weakness. But what you haven't seen is that your tiredness isn't simply physical. It's spiritual resistance, heavy pressure layered on your shoulders to keep you from waking up fully to what's surrounding you. This is not just fatigue from your daily routine. It's the dulling fog sent to quiet your spiritual senses so you'll stop reaching, stop hoping, stop expecting. But I'm here to cut through that fog and tell you that your heaviness is not yours to carry. It's an indicator that the war around you intensified the moment you started coming closer to clarity. You've wondered why your body feels slow, why your energy vanishes without reason, why your focus drifts even when you're doing nothing. It's because something has been draining you not from the outside, but from within. I don't say this to frighten you. I say it to wake you up. Because if you mislabel your weariness, you'll retreat instead of resist. This battle isn't new, but its strategy has shifted. It no longer comes loudly with distractions you can see. And now it comes softly, through mental fog, quiet discouragement, unexplained delay, and the subtle lie that says, "It's okay to sleep on this." No, it's not okay. You can't afford to sleep through what I'm stirring in your soul. This isn't the time to numb your way into comfort. This is the time to rise, even if you feel like crawling. You've made it this far not because it was easy, but because somewhere inside you knew you couldn't stop. I saw that. I honored that. And now I'm telling you, child, the reason it's getting heavier is because what's ahead of you is weighty in glory. Yes, you're tired, but it's not the kind of tired that leads to collapse. It's the kind that happens just before crossing into fulfillment. Think about it. Every major shift in your life was preceded by moments like this. Moments where giving up felt justifiable, where silence seemed more comfortable than obedience. But you didn't stop then, and I'm asking you not to stop now. The enemy doesn't want you to know this, but I'll tell you plainly. Your exhaustion is not failure, it's friction. You're rubbing against the limitations that used to define you. You're breaking the patterns that tried to keep you boxed in. You're pressing beyond the walls that once convinced you to stay small. That grinding, that aching, the sluggish heaviness, it's because you're moving against spiritual currents meant to drown your momentum. But here's the truth. You're winning, even when you don't feel it. Every time you choose to stay present when you want to disconnect, you gain ground. Every time you whisper, "God, I'm still here," through clenched teeth and a weary mind, you drive back darkness that hoped you would disappear. And I'm not distant in your fatigue. I'm right here. I'm holding your hands up like I did for my servants before you, when their strength gave out but their purpose did not. I never expected you to carry all of this alone. I've been standing over you while you slept, shielding you from attacks you never even saw. I've been surrounding your mind with peace when anxiety tried to claw its way in. And now, in this moment, I'm placing my hand over your spirit and saying, "Wake up, but don't fear. Rise, but don't rush. Breathe, and let me fill you again." Because you don't need to push your way forward. You need to yield to what I'm doing. You've carried too much pressure trying to figure it all out, fix everything at once, explain your weariness to people who can't understand your calling. But you don't have to explain it anymore. I understand it fully. I see the cost. I see the silent battles. I see the weight no one acknowledges. And I am here, not to scold you for being tired, but to tell you that the battle has reached its peak. The tension means the turnaround is near. Don't sleep through the tipping point. Don't collapse now. The door is unlocking, the storm is shifting, and the next move you make, even with trembling hands, will be the one that cracks open what I've kept preserved just for you. The pain, the detours, the doors that closed without explanation, none of it was meaningless. You stood in places that felt abandoned, cried over opportunities that vanished without warning, and questioned why I stayed silent while you were sinking. But what you didn't know is that I was weaving a story so detailed, so sacred, that if I had revealed it too soon, you would have tried to carry it before you were ready. You thought I was withholding, but I was preserving. I wasn't ignoring your prayers. I was waiting for the exact second when what I prepared could meet you in the condition you'd be able to receive it. And now, the time is near. I need you to feel the urgency in my words, not because I want to pressure you, but because I want you alert. The next thing I release into your life will be the kind of clarity that rearranges your entire understanding of what you've walked through. It will be the moment when the shattered pieces start forming the shape I intended all along. You didn't go through all of this to be left confused. I've seen you trying to make sense of situations that made no logical sense, trying to extract purpose from pain, trying to justify hope when all you saw was resistance, and I honored your persistence. That wrestle was not in vain. I'm not just sending you a blessing. I'm sending you a perspective that will breathe meaning into memories you've tried to forget. You'll look back on seasons that once wounded you and say, that was preparation. You'll understand why certain people left, why that door slammed, why that opportunity crumbled, why that answer was delayed. Because what I'm about to unveil will require the very strength you developed in the seasons you hated. That's why the enemy tried so hard to keep you focused on the now, because if he could trap you in the questions, you'd stop expecting the revelation. But you didn't stop. You kept waiting, even when it hurt. You kept standing, even when it didn't make sense. You kept hoping, even when your heart was barely holding on. And that was all I needed. I didn't need your perfection. I needed your endurance. And now I'm responding. The unveiling is personal. It won't be vague. It won't be general. It won't look like anyone else's breakthrough because it wasn't meant to. I tailor-made this next season to fit the exact shape of your scars. I formed it with precision, shaped it with compassion, and timed it with wisdom that surpasses human logic. And when it unfolds, there will be no doubt it came from me. I'm not just resolving your confusion. I'm redeeming the time you thought was lost. You didn't miss your moment. You've been walking toward it all along, even when you couldn't recognize the path. And I didn't forget what you gave up to follow me. I remember every silent surrender, every lonely night, every time you said yes while your voice trembled. I kept track of it all, and now I'm aligning the fruit with your sacrifice. But hear me, when it starts to unfold, don't rush it. Don't compare it. Don't question whether you deserve it. Just receive it. It's not coming because you earned it. It's coming because I promised it. And I never break my word. I didn't bring you this far to abandon the outcome. I didn't walk you through the valley to leave you without a view from the top. Something is approaching, and it won't just change your surroundings. It will correct your vision. You will no longer see your life as scattered. You will no longer wonder if you're behind. You will no longer live in cycles of regret. Instead, you will rise into the understanding that everything, yes, everything, was leading here. And once it begins, nothing will be able to stop it. That's why I need you fully present. That's why I've been calling you deeper. Because when this lands, when it touches your life, it will bring a peace that silences every previous question, not because you forget the past, but because you finally see how it was all part of the plan. You waited long enough. Now, stay steady. What's coming is not random. It's restoration in its most precise form, and it will make everything make sense. There's more than you've imagined waiting just outside the edge of your understanding, but if I unveiled all of it in one breath, it would drown you in details you're not built to carry at once. You've been asking me for the whole picture, pleading for full clarity, reaching into the unknown and demanding explanation, but I've held back, not out of cruelty, but mercy. If you saw the magnitude of what I've set in motion behind the curtain of this current moment, you would try to manage it in your own strength, and that's not what I'm building in you. I'm not developing a strategist, I'm shaping a listener. I'm not interested in making you an architect of your own breakthrough. I'm teaching you how to walk with me, step by step, moment by moment, without collapsing under the weight of what hasn't even arrived yet. You think you're ready to know the full plan, but child, plans require maturity to handle. That's why I've allowed mystery to hover over your timeline, not to confuse you, but to prepare you. And now, I must begin revealing what I've hidden, not everything but just enough to ignite the next layer of trust. You've been standing in a space between what was and what will be, and I've watched you remain faithful while feeling uncertain, loyal while lacking details, steady while surrounded by shadows. And that's why now is the time I start showing you what I've kept covered. Not all of it, but just the first edge. The part that will activate your obedience again. The part that will whisper, "Keep going, it's real." You've proven that you won't quit even when your questions go unanswered. You've demonstrated that you're willing to stay when most would have run. And now, because of that posture, I'm releasing insight, not to feed your curiosity, but to empower your calling. There are things you're about to see that will shift how you interpret your own story. And I'm not just showing you outcomes. I'm unveiling strategy, wisdom, discernment. I'm giving you access to a level of understanding you didn't have before, because the season you're entering requires more than survival. It demands insight. But child, hear me clearly, you don't need to chase what's next. You need to make space for it. I'm not asking you to force the door open. I'm asking you to notice the handle I'm placing in your hand. You keep waiting for fireworks, for something grand, but I'm speaking through the quiet opening. I'm beginning the reveal in whispers, not shouts, because I want your soul tuned into my voice, not the crowd's commentary. What I'm about to release will look like what you expect. It won't match the blueprint you built in your own imagination. It will follow the formula you thought you had figured out. And that's intentional. I'm not fulfilling your dream. I'm unfolding my promise. The two don't always look the same. And if you try to fit my purpose inside your preferences, you'll miss the power that comes with surrender. So now, I need you to prepare your heart, not for everything to happen at once, but for the pieces to start falling into place one at a time. And as they do, you'll begin to feel a sacred alignment, a calm knowing, a deep certainty that you're not lost, you're right on schedule. Yes, it will stretch you. Yes, it may even scare you. But don't let fear convince you that you're unqualified. I didn't bring you this far to tease you with unfinished glimpses. I'm starting the unveiling because you've reached the threshold I appointed long before you knew it existed. Let me begin. Don't resist this because it feels unfamiliar. Don't hesitate when the new begins to stir. The unveiling won't always come with confirmation. Sometimes, it starts with movement. And once it begins, I won't stop until it's complete. Trust this process. I'm leading. You're not supposed to see it all. You're supposed to walk it out. And now I'm walking you forward. You tried to hide it behind your smile, behind your responsibilities, behind your carefully rehearsed "I'm fine." But I saw right through the surface and straight into the ache you couldn't explain to anyone else. When no one was watching, when the noise faded and the lights went out, you let it slip. That one tear, that shaky breath, that wordless prayer. You didn't think I noticed. You assumed it was too small to matter, too invisible to be significant. But I didn't miss it. I hovered in the stillness, closer than the air around you, collecting every drop of sorrow that spilled from your eyes, and not one fell without purpose. You see, I don't overlook what others don't understand. I don't dismiss the pain you buried just to get through another day. A tear you wiped quickly before anyone saw. It spoke more to me than 1,000 words. It carried weight. The weight of disappointments you never voiced, questions you were too afraid to ask, and hopes you've kept locked away because they've been mishandled too many times. But I'm not like them. I don't mishandle fragile hearts. I cradle them. I cradle yours. Every time you blinked through the pressure and tried to move forward like nothing was wrong, I was right there, not distant, not passive, but fully aware and fully present. Your pain isn't a nuisance to me. It's precious. It's real. And it matters more than you think. There's no such thing as a wasted tear in my kingdom. Each one carries testimony, not of weakness but of endurance. They are not stains of defeat. They are symbols of survival. You didn't quit. You didn't collapse. You released your hurt the only way you knew how, quietly, gently, with dignity. And that, child, is strength I deeply honor. Others may not see how much you've endured just to function. They may never grasp the internal war you fight just to wake up and try again. But I do. I saw you fold into yourself that night, laying there with your thoughts louder than your words, and I leaned in, not to fix you immediately, but to hold you completely. I don't rush you through healing. I sit with you in it. And what you felt, that hollow weight, that heaviness pressing on your chest, that wasn't the end. That was me drawing near, pulling pain into my hands so you didn't have to hold it alone. I've never ignored your tears. They are language to me. They speak of need, longing, and honesty in a way your lips often don't know how to express. And I treasure that level of rawness, not because I want you broken, but because it means you're real with me. I'd rather sit with the real you in the dark than the polished version in the light. Let me remind you, I'm not asking you to pretend anymore. You don't need to perform strength. You don't need to numb your ache to look spiritual. That tear you shed was more prophetic than any sermon. It said, I'm still here. I'm still trusting. I'm still holding on, even if it's only by a thread. And that thread, fragile as it feels, is more powerful than you realize, because it's tied to me. And I don't let go. I'm weaving those tears into something sacred. They are not shameful. They are seeds. Seeds that I'm watering with my presence. Seeds that will blossom into joy at a time you least expect. Your season of mourning will not last forever. I'm already working beneath the surface to reverse what caused it. But until that reversal comes, I want you to know, I see you. I know what you've been holding in. I'm not rushing you through it. I'm walking with you through every step of it. And I promise, one day soon, the very eyes that wept in silence will witness beauty rising from the very place where you thought nothing good could grow. Let the tears fall when they need to. I'll keep counting them because they count to me. Even as you read this, what you pleaded for, the change you wept over, the answer you thought would never come, is no longer a distant hope waiting in the shadows of the future. It's being moved, positioned, prepared, and shaped in real time. You assumed silence meant delay. You believed my quiet meant denial. But that couldn't be further from the truth. What you called waiting, I've been calling working. What felt like an activity has been the most precise orchestration of events behind the scenes, aligning details, opening hearts, closing counterfeit paths, and making room for what you've long believed was out of reach. You didn't hear the sound of the answer because I was handling it in a way that wouldn't draw attention to the process, only the outcome. And now, the outcome is coming closer. Your request wasn't ignored. It was set on the path that required layers of divine preparation. I don't give pieces when I've promised fullness. That's why I didn't drop it into your life when you first asked. Because if I had released it too early, it would have collapsed under the weight of your current understanding. But now, child, the shift is happening. Quietly, without announcement, without flashing signs, but undeniably. What you prayed with trembling hands is being answered by mine with unwavering certainty. While you've been trying to keep your head above the surface, I've been preparing the very foundation that will carry you forward. You thought nothing was happening because you couldn't feel it. But you don't have to feel it to know it's real. I'm not bound by what your senses can grasp. I operate in dimensions deeper than what your eyes can track. You're standing in the hallway between the cry and the confirmation, and the only thing I need from you in this space is endurance. Not the kind that screams with strength, but the kind that whispers I believe even when the evidence is invisible. And believe me, it is happening. Even when you can't prove it. Even when your surroundings argue against it. The breakthrough you've been pleading for is not just something I heard. It's something I took personally. I responded to your desperation with strategy. I answered your ache with acceleration. You didn't see me move, but I moved everything that needed to shift in order to clear the path for what's about to be released. And this release isn't small. It's not just a solution. It's a revelation. It's not merely an answer. It's alignment. When it arrives, you'll look back and realize why the delay was necessary. You'll realize I wasn't punishing you. I was protecting the magnitude of the breakthrough. And when I say breakthrough, I don't mean temporary relief. I mean a permanent reordering of what's been blocked for too long. I mean deliverance, not just detour. I mean fulfillment, not just fragments. And I'm not doing it halfway. I'm doing it thoroughly, completely, without loopholes, without confusion. That's why it's taken time. That's why it's required trust. And I know that trust has cost you deeply. I know you've wrestled with thoughts that said, maybe this isn't for me, maybe I missed it, maybe he changed his mind. But I haven't. My mind doesn't shift with your emotions. My will doesn't wobble under the pressure of time. I began a good work in you, and I finish what I start. The moment you lifted that honest prayer, the one you didn't tell anyone about, I began. And I haven't stopped since. Right now, while your hands feel empty, Heaven's storehouse is releasing the exact supply for what I've destined for you to carry. I don't tease with promises. I fulfill them. I don't stir hope to leave you hanging. I stir it so your spirit recognizes what's already in transit. So don't panic. Don't rush. Don't assume your silence means I've forgotten. I haven't. I'm just completing something you'll never need to redo. The breakthrough you begged for is no longer pending. It's progressing. And it's almost here. That moment you paused, when something tugged at your spirit so subtly you almost dismissed it. That was me. A coincidence. Not your mind playing tricks. Not some fleeting feeling drifting through your thoughts. That was the exact second my voice reached into your atmosphere and interrupted your spiral. You didn't imagine it. That sudden clarity in the middle of your confusion. That stillness that slipped in when you were on the edge of breakdown. That was my whisper, navigating through the noise just to get to you. You thought maybe it was nothing, maybe it didn't matter, but child, I speak in ways that don't always sound like thunder. Sometimes I choose the softest method to say the most serious things. Because in the middle of a war for your mind, I knew the only thing strong enough to reach you was something gentle enough to stop the chaos without adding to it. I didn't need to shout. I just needed you to notice. And you did. Even if it was just for a second. Even if you questioned it right after. That awareness wasn't your imagination. It was divine confirmation. It was the evidence that I've been closer than your breath, weaving my voice through the very moments you thought were mundane. You didn't miss me. You felt me. It shivered down your spine, that heartbeat that suddenly sped up, that name that came into your mind at the exact moment you were about to give up. That was my voice moving like a river beneath the surface, washing away lies before they could take root. The enemy's greatest strategy hath been to convince you that I'm distant, silent, disconnected, but he's terrified of you realizing how near I've always been. He knows that if you start trusting the quiet nudges, if you stop dismissing the subtle signs, you'll begin walking in a level of authority that can't be shaken by noise. That's why the chaos has increased. Not because you're lost, but because you're getting closer to me than ever before. And the closer you get, the more the distractions try to compete for your attention. But I'm still speaking. Even when it feels like your mind is racing, even when everything around you feels loud and disjointed, I'm still there, releasing direction inside the spaces the enemy hoped you'd overlook. I'm speaking through moments you thought were interruptions. Through phrases others said that hit your soul like lightning. Through songs that randomly played at the exact moment your heart broke open. Through dreams that made no sense on the surface but left a residue of something sacred when you woke up. I'm not limited to one language. I speak in ways your heart can interpret even when your mind is too weary to understand. You're not crazy. You're connected. You're not broken. You're being trained to listen deeper. And that training comes in moments where everything seems too unclear to trust. But I ask you to lean in anyway. You don't need to figure out the full meaning. You just need to recognize that I spoke. Because if you can trust me in the fragments, you'll be ready when I reveal the full picture. And that signal, the one you keep wondering about, wasn't random. It was real. You were about to turn away, about to retreat, about to silence your hunger for more. But then I stirred something. I lit a spark you didn't see coming. That moment interrupted your descent and reminded your soul it's not over. I'm doing it more often now. Why? Because I'm drawing you out of the shallow and into the deep. The season ahead of you requires sensitivity. It requires faith that doesn't need fireworks to know I'm near. You're learning to discern my breath in the middle of the storm, to detect me in the middle of mental noise. And you're getting better at it. That's why I'm speaking more often. You just didn't know it was me until now. But from this moment forward, I want you to stop second-guessing those nudges. Stop questioning those prompts. If you feel peace rise when you shouldn't, it's me. If a name won't leave your heart, it's me. If your soul quiets without reason, it's me. I'm not playing games with your life. I'm guiding you, even through whispers. And I'll keep whispering until you walk into what I've designed for you to hear next. You've been wondering if the signs were real, if the stirring in your chest had any weight, if the strange moments of alignment meant anything, and I'm telling you right now, yes. Yes, I've been orchestrating things beneath the surface while you've been asking if I'm even there. This is your confirmation. Not a coincidence. Not a nice thought. Not a temporary feeling. This is me, making sure you understand that what looked stagnant was actually sacred strategy. I've been moving in realms you can't measure, setting up situations you didn't even pray for yet. I saw what was coming before it ever touched your atmosphere, and I've already begun rerouting what was designed to delay you. I never left the process. I've been inside every hidden place, adjusting what needed correction, softening hearts that needed to shift, and building bridges you didn't know you'd need to cross. Even when you thought I wasn't involved, I was deeply invested. Every moment you called out to me, even if you said nothing out loud, I moved. You didn't feel it, because I was handling the roots, not the leaves. I was working in silence, not because I was far, but because I needed you to see with faith, not assumption. I didn't give you updates, because I was protecting you from details that would have caused unnecessary panic. I've been handling it, in full. There hasn't been a single second wasted. While you cried, I constructed. While you questioned, I aligned. While you waited, I weaved divine moments together with threads of mercy, stitching breakthrough into the backdrop of ordinary days. And now, here you are, thinking you're stuck, when really, you're standing inches away from a shift that will reveal just how deeply involved I've been all along. This message didn't find you by accident. It was scheduled to reach you at the exact moment your heart began to harden under the pressure. It's not just encouragement, it's evidence. I see the things no one else sees, the responsibilities that stack up while your energy drains, the decisions you keep making without applause, the faithfulness you offer in silence while others move on with louder stories. I see the quiet endurance. I see the sacrifices that haven't been noticed. But I didn't overlook them. I recorded them. And I am answering, not just with reward, but with revelation. I'm showing you now that what felt like abandonment was actually incubation. I had to protect the process from being disrupted by people who wouldn't understand its value. That's why certain doors closed without explanation. That's why people left without giving reasons. That's why the path twisted in ways that didn't match your prayers, because I knew the weight of what you're carrying, and I refused to let it be contaminated by compromise. Now I'm revealing it layer by layer, not to overwhelm you, but to remind you that I never stopped being intentional. Even your detours were part of the construction zone. Even your delays were part of the blueprint. I'm working behind the curtain, and now I'm starting to pull it back just enough for you to see, yes, I was in it all along. I'm not done showing you either. In the days ahead, you'll begin to notice more things that used to feel random now align perfectly. Conversations will connect. Moments will make sense. Places you were once rejected from will no longer carry the sting they used to, because you'll finally understand why I redirected you. This is a sacred unraveling, not of confusion, but of hidden purpose. You're not forgotten. You're not overlooked. You're not on plan B. You're right on time for what I've been forming beneath your feet. Don't rush to figure it all out. Just breathe. Just listen. Just follow the piece I keep placing in front of you. You asked for clarity. This is it. This is your signal. This is your confirmation. I'm not only near, I'm deeply active. And I'm not leaving until what I've promised hath been fully revealed through your life. You've been staring at the same scenery for so long that you've convinced yourself nothing is shifting, nothing is progressing, and everything you're doing must be stuck on repeat. But that's only because you've been measuring the movement through the lens of your expectations, not through the truth of my reality. Just because you don't see the waves forming doesn't mean the tide isn't turning. You're so used to associating change with instant, visible outcomes that you started to assume if it's not loud, it must not be real. But I don't work through chaos. I work through transformation, and transformation often starts invisibly. The lie that says, you're still in the same place, is rooted in distraction. It wants you to forget how far you've come. It wants you to ignore the internal victories, the moments you didn't fall apart when you used to, the strength that held you together in the middle of what should have broken you, the patience you didn't think you had, the trust you've begun to build in silence. These are not small things. They are confirmations that the ground has already shifted. But because you've been too focused on outcomes, you've missed the signs that the foundation has already been relaid. You've grown, even if others didn't notice. You've changed, even if nothing on the outside clapped for you. And now, I'm asking you to believe what your spirit already knows. Movement is happening. Doors are unlocking. Timelines are merging. Relationships are being pruned. Favor is being aligned. I've already pressed go, and now your only job is to keep walking without doubting whether I'm guiding. The shift didn't wait for your confirmation to begin. It started when I declared it in realms unseen. It began the moment you said yes even when you were afraid. It took shape when you surrendered control and trusted me with what you couldn't hold anymore. You didn't feel the earthquake, but the fault lines beneath your situation cracked open under the weight of your obedience. You want to see the fruit immediately, but right now, you're still under construction. Don't judge the change by what hasn't sprouted. Trust the process by what I've already buried deep in the soil of your soul. You've been carrying seeds, and now, even if it still looks like nothing has broken through the surface, the roots are growing. The lie that says nothing is changing only survives if you stop watering what I told you to plant. But you didn't stop. You've kept showing up, even when it felt repetitive. You've kept believing, even when it felt foolish. And now I'm here to break that lie completely. Look deeper. Listen closer. I've already interrupted the cycle. An addiction. It's weakening. A habit. It's breaking. A generational pattern. It's being dismantled. That financial wall. It's crumbling. That anxiety. It's losing power. It's self-doubt. It's being replaced with divine confidence. You think it's all the same because you're still in the same space. But what's happening inside you is preparing you for the space I'm leading you to. Don't miss the miracle in motion because you're looking for flashes and fireworks. This kind of change is strategic. It's unfolding in rhythm with my breath, not your timeline. Trust it. Believe it. Walk like it's already shifted because it has. I didn't ask you to feel it. I asked you to believe me when I said I was doing a new thing. And new doesn't always feel different at first. Sometimes it feels uncomfortable, unfamiliar, even slow. But then it breaks through, and suddenly, everyone who thought you were in the same place realizes you've stepped into something completely transformed. That's what's happening now. Don't agree with lies that tell you otherwise. The evidence is coming, but your faith is what accelerates it. So speak like things are changing. Pray like breakthrough is near. Move like freedom is already yours. Because in my eyes, you're already walking in what I've finished. You're not waiting on change. You're standing in the middle of it. You've mistaken silence for abandonment and obscurity for insignificance. But child, what you call being overlooked is actually divine preservation. I didn't forget you. I placed you where distraction couldn't reach you and where sabotage couldn't find you. I shielded you from recognition that wasn't ready to honor what I've placed inside of you. You felt buried, but you've been planted. Hidden, not lost. Covered, not rejected. This season of isolation you've questioned so many times wasn't punishment. It was strategy. Because what I've placed inside of you is too precious to be exposed before its time. Some doors didn't open not because you lacked value, but because your light would have been mishandled in rooms that weren't built to carry the weight of your purpose. So I drew you back. I hid you in my shadow. I closed certain opportunities with my own hand, not to hurt you but to protect you. I was keeping you from settling into places that would have celebrated your potential but drained your soul. I know you've wrestled with feeling unseen, with wondering if your voice even matters, if your prayers echo into emptiness. But I've heard everyone. And more than that, I've responded by setting you apart. I've surrounded you with stillness not to frustrate you but to clarify you. I've made you invisible to the wrong people so you'd be available for the right assignment. And now, I'm preparing to reveal what I've been forming in the secret place. The very things you thought were delays were actually divine layers being added to your calling. And soon, what was hidden will be seen. But it will not be revealed to make you famous. It will be revealed to make me known. Because this surprise I've been crafting isn't about stage or spotlight. It's about impact. It's about unleashing the version of you that couldn't have been birthed without this hidden season. Others may have taken shortcuts, but you've taken the sacred route. You've stayed when you could have walked away. You served when you could have sought validation. You've worshipped in private when no one was clapping, and I've been keeping record of every surrendered moment. And I'm not unjust. I will not overlook your obedience. I will not ignore your humility. I will not allow you to believe that this pain was pointless. It was producing something far greater than what you imagine. And now, I'm getting ready to reveal it. Not suddenly, but supernaturally. You won't have to force the doors open. You won't have to beg for attention. You won't have to prove your worth. I'm the one who will lift you in the proper time. I'm the one who will breathe favor over the places you thought were closed for good. You're not forgotten. You've been in my hands all along. The reason you felt pressure is because the unveiling is near. The reason you felt the tension increase is because the season is shifting. And though you may not fully understand it yet, trust me, when I bring you into the space I've prepared for you, it will all make sense. The pain, the quiet, the waiting, the nights of not knowing if you'd missed it, they'll all melt into joy when you see the table I've set just for you. You'll realize why the wait had to be this long. You'll see that I was never late. I was being precise. I was being protective. I was being faithful to what I planted in you. So don't let discouragement win. Don't assume you've been disqualified. You are not behind. You are being preserved. And what's ahead will not just surprise others, it will surprise you. Because I'm the God of unexpected glory. And I'm not done writing your story. In fact, I'm just now about to turn the page. Hold on, child. The unveiling is near. Let me finish what I started, and you'll never again doubt why I hid you when I did. Amen.